the top 10 cards from Cyberstorm Access that you might want to have. I don't think 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Number 1 is going to be Wannabe. Now this card is one of the most interesting little concoctions out of this set, because during the end phase you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Excavate cards on the top of your deck equal to the number of your opponent's unused spell and trap card zones. And if you do, you can set one excavated trap, but send it to the graveyard during the end phase. Also place the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. Now, this lets you burn it from your hand. Going first, I mean, if you're playing traps anyway, you're already used to playing inherently slow cards. So I don't think that this is going to be that much of an issue for Yu-Gi-Oh! Players to kind of understand. But it is during the end phase. So you can do it during your opponent's turn also to set a trap. That is pretty interesting in itself, but this is one of those cards that I think a lot of people are going to kind of scrape by underneath the radar. But definitely keep an eye on this one for sure for usability. Next up is all of the little Tellarknight stuff. Tellarknight's got some pretty big boost in this set, and if you're a longtime fan of the deck, I think these are some power-ups that you might actually enjoy, because the new Tellarknight Constellar has 2+ level 4s to make it. On Exceed Summon, you can target a Tellar card or a Constellar card in your graveyard and add them to your hand, and you can banish one Tellarknight or Constellar monster from your hand or deck, detach a material from this card, and that effect will become the same as that monster's activated effect when that monster would be normal summon. So you can go ahead and, you know, trigger an Altair, you can go ahead and trigger any of the other extra little effects that you really wanted to on the side, or at least on the time of activation, to be able to trigger for some additional advantage. It's pretty good. At the end of the day, the deck still, you still suffer from like being an older deck, getting upgrades, but I think that this is very, very cool at the end of the day. Next up is the Ice Jade Ron. So you can discard one other Ice Jade card or one water monster to special summon this card from your hand, and then you can special summon an Ice Jade token. Water Aqua level 3 with 0 attack, 0 defense. Yes, this is discard a water monster or another Ice Jade to special summon it and make a token. While a token is the monster zone, that's the player who summoned it cannot special summon monster from the next deck except for water monsters. This is an auto Chang Ying, or it is an auto make any other synchro monster that you might need that fits the requirement of being a water monster. And of course, it also has this card's name becomes Ice Jade and Neon Cradle while equipped with an equipped card. You don't really care about that. This is just a generic water support card, and I think the card is pretty cool, honestly, just for what it kind of adds to old water decks. Next up is the Minconco support. Now, Minconco got 2 cards. You got a new main deck monster, and then you got the Dance of the Minconco. The Dance, honestly, is the one that I think Minconco players are going to want to focus on, just because, well, I mean, for the Warrior Toolbox side of things. The equipped monster cannot be destroyed by card effects, and then if your Minconco monster battles at the end of damage step, you can target one card on the field and return it to the hand. That is actually super good. And then if this card is in your graveyard, target one Minconco monster in your graveyard. So if you do equip it with this card, also banish that monster when it leaves the field. You got a lot to unpack here for this. You got a Monster Reborn, you got a Bounce Engine, and I mean, it gives it the ability to not be destroyed by card effects. That's everything that you really want on a superpower card, to be honest with you. This is by far one of the cheapest cards I think you're going to have in the set, and if you've already picked up, you know, the rest of the Minconco cards, this is another little fantastic addition for you. Next up is Libra Man Origin. Now, on activation, you can set a Libra Man spell and trap card directly from your deck, except for Libra Man Origin. So you get a free pull out of any resource that you want from the deck. Your ritual monsters will gain 100 attack and defense times 100 that are Libra Man monsters. So keep that in mind. You'll get a nice little power up for its own level times 100. Nice little boost, sure. Alright, if a ritual monster or monsters is ritual summoned to your field and target one spell and trap card your opponent controls to destroy it. So you have a generic pull anything out of my deck. My Libromancer ritual monsters will get a power up, maybe 400 to 500, sure. And then on ritual summon, I can pop spells and traps the opponent controls. Okay. sounds good to me. All they needed to do was add a little bit of support for Libra Man in terms of the searching department, and I think that they did a fantastic job here just with that for this card. Next up is Sakitama. Amazing that Sakitama made 5th place in both videos here, but as I said previously, Sakitama, if you play any sort of rank 4 deck, this is going to be something that you're going to want, because being able to toggle through large amounts of material very quickly. Exosister, for example, wants to use this to make basically one card Magnifica with Aratama at this point in time. Yeah, you can do that because this card allows you to do so. Decks that have specific locks that you can't special summon X, for the rest of this turn, this card gives you the chance to bypass that in a way that's not really going to hurt you. And I think that that's incredibly good at the end of the day. So I like this card. It's going to be massively easy to get, and that's a good thing. All right, availability is always going to reign king. Next up is the Time-Tearing Morganite. I think that this card for stun is amazing. I know there are a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to play this in Flaunderies, I'm going to play this in all these other decks. At the bare minimum, it's a double summon with Ledger of the Ledgerman. All right, you have to understand that that's what you're dealing with here. But apply all of these effects to the rest of the duel. So you cannot activate the effects of monsters in your hand. Keep that in mind. Draw 2 cards instead of 1 during your normal draw phase. Sure. And then you can conduct 2 normal summons or sets each turn, not just 1. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, discard a copy of itself, and then this turn your opponent cannot activate monster effects when you normal summon a monster. Well, I think the important thing about this is, in stun, a deck that wants to generate as much resources as possible. I think as long as you can get through turn 1 and then have this grind up more advantage for the rest of the game, I think you'll be in a really good position. Next up is Chaos Angel. This card is actually insane. All right, the fact that Chaos Angel is entirely generic, essentially, being a 1 tuner plus 1 non-tuner light or dark monster, and then you can treat a tuner monster as a light or a dark monster to be able to summon this. It's nuts. On special summon, so you can actually revive this from the graveyard, and then you can target a card on the field and banish it. Doesn't destroy, just spot removals it. And then if you use a light monster to make it, this card is unaffected by monsters' activated effects of the opponent. And then if you use a dark, monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle. And yes, that does stack up. So if you use both, you have literally a near indestructible boss monster that will be unaffected by things. That's not what you want to actually see in the game, but it is an incredibly strong card at the end of the day. Next up is Numbers of Veil. Now this is just a personal pickup of mine. If your opponent controls a monster special summon from the extra deck, choose 4 number exceed monsters with different ranks in your extra deck, and then special summon 1 number exceed monster from your extra deck with a number in its name equal to the total number of the names of the chosen monsters. And if you do, attach all of the chosen monsters to it as material. And you cannot special summon monsters except for number monsters, except for number exceed monsters, while you control that face-up card. So you're basically going to take 4 number cards from your deck, you're going to add up those numbers, and then you're going to go ahead and overlay them into the appropriate number. This card is actually really good in the OCG with Rongo Reminiad, but we don't have Rongo Bongo, but I think as a pretty cool resource. I've seen Flaunder play this a lot in the OCG. I think this is a hilarious card at the end of the day, so I definitely want to have a set of these just for the cool potential. And I think the best honest thing you're going to want from the set is a Firewall Dragon Singularity. All the Code Talker players out here, all the Cybers, all the Mathmech are going to enjoy this. Quick effect. On a 3+ effect monster, you target cards your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of different types of monsters, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, you control and in your graveyard, return them to the hand, and if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each return. If a monster or monster this card points to destroyed by a battle or sent to the graveyard and target a Cyber's monster in your graveyard and special summon it, you can only use each effect of Firewall Dragon Singularity once per turn. Yep, this card is by far the new era boss monster on a Link 6, which is not a problem to make at all in most Cybers decks. Good stuff. So what do you guys think about these new power-ups? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.